You are listening to the Creative Women's League podcast. I'm your host and biggest fan, Kate Toney. Creative women entrepreneurs all over the globe turn to the Creative Women's League for social media advice, marketing help, and to get their minds in the mode to achieve bigger than they ever thought possible. Whether it's hearing the journey of your favorite creative badasses or the expert business advice shared, CWL is here for you with a whole lot of laughs, heaps of honesty, and endless support. Because over here, we know the secret sauce to building your creative empire all starts with motivation, inspiration, know-how, and community. If you want to exceed every goal, defeat the doubt, cast out fear, and connect with your fellow creative Wonder Woman, well, my dear, it's time to join the Creative Women's League. What's up, everybody? How are you? I'm Kate. I am so excited to be here with you. Per usual, this episode is going hand in hand with what's going on over on Instagram. This episode is going to be giving you tons of motivation, inspiration, and particularly know-how. But to get the community portion of what is going on here, you gotta get over to Instagram at Creative Women's League and Facebook. Search Creative Women's League. You can like our page and you can join the group. This week we were discussing the Word of the Week challenge, which I posed to all of you. You can get your Word of the Week over on Instagram. If you're listening to this way later and you can't seem to find the Word of the Week Instagram post, let me know. Message me, email me, direct message me on Instagram, whatever, and I will get you the content for Word of the Week because it's awesome. That has had an amazing response. Basically, you got to take a screenshot of this little graphic I made. It will randomly generate you a word of the week. And then we're checking in over in the Facebook group and on the Instagram to see how everybody is doing with their word. I got present, so it has been helping me stay so much more present this week. I loved it. Before we dive into the fantastic meat of this episode, I wanted to tell you about something new and fantastic I learned. Okay, so I had a couple aha moments this week. One was Michael Stelzner over at the Social Media Examiner podcast. Go listen. He said you need to be listening, if you're a podcaster, or otherwise actually, to all the podcasts. Be listening to everybody. You never know what you're going to pick up, what great guests you could get ideas for. Just listen to everybody, which was perfect advice because I went to an episode of Shailene Johnson's podcast. Shailene Johnson was talking to podcast guru Paul Culligan. That episode was so freaking eye-opening. I learned that the most important thing that you can do to help a podcast grow is subscribe. How easy is that? That is one click. One little tap of your thumb, subscribe to this podcast, and that alone helps get my message out to the world, helps get our fantastic community seen by more people. So all of that to say, A, how cool is that a little lesson I learned led to an even bigger lesson? And B, please subscribe. It's huge. Send it to your friends. Have them subscribe. I think we need to make a subscriber section in my highlights. What do you think? If you post a picture in your stories that you are subscribed to the podcast so I can share that on my Instagram. We'll put it in a highlight. It'll be fantastic. So as you can see, the theme so far is that this podcast plays really well with my Instagram. They go hand in hand. One of the things I had talked about on Instagram this week was brand vibe. I shared a post that said, your vibe attracts your tribe, meaning who you are, how you and your brand makes the consumer feel. That's what's pulling people in. That is what's getting you your followers and getting people to buy from you. Putting out the wrong vibe or a disjointed vibe can scare away a potential raving fan just because you confused them in those first couple pivotal seconds where they were deciding if they're going to hit follow, if they are going to hit buy. As Donald Miller, who I have a total business crush on, says, if you confuse, you lose. Okay, so first off, vibe is different than branding, speaking of Donald and branding. They are sisters. They are not twins. They are not the exact same thing. They're closely related. So knowing your vibe can help you come up with your brand. And ultimately, your brand and your vibe should be cohesive. I've noticed that people have an easier time coming up with and committing to a vibe than they do a brand. It seems to be part of the process of finding yourself to really rebel against finding a brand. So I put out a poll on my Instagram stories and said, do you know your vibe? And I was so surprised with the results. First off, I was incredibly surprised with who among you didn't know your brand vibe. Mostly because a couple of names on there, I actually thought to myself, who is actively engaged, and out of those people, who really knows their brand really well. And two of those people that I thought of by name popped right up as saying they had no idea what their brand vibe was. The cool thing here is this means you're doing it without knowing it. And the even cooler thing is, once you are doing it intentionally, it is going to be even more powerful. There was another surprising result from this poll, which was I had a handful of people message me in regards to this story and say, I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean brand vibe? With that, I knew we had to do a podcast episode about it because brand vibe is huge in the era of social media. And here is some very bitter truth. Many of us think we know our brand vibe, and we are so out of touch with it. Or we did know a brand vibe at one point, and slowly but surely, one post after another, we have strayed away from it. Recently, coaching people on their brands and their branding and their vibes and their social media presence, I've noticed that a lot of people are putting off a different vibe than they intend to. Once again, sisters, but not twins. So let's be super intentional about what our vibe is and how we are getting it out to the world. Because the internet has taken vibe to the next level, you guys, to the next freaking level. Your brand is in people's hands all the time. Think about it. Think about your parents and especially your grandparents. We used to only interact with a brand if we walked into their physical store or if we got a catalog or if we called the company. But that was pretty much it. That was all the interaction you had with any given brand. And now there is 24/7 access to your brand in their hands, which is great. And that's why I want you to nail it. Your internet presence needs to be an extension of your brand vibe. Most of us won't have a physical store location, but I still want you to picture it in your mind. How would you control this space? What would it look like? Who would you hire? Who would you love to see walking in the door? Think of your internet presence the same way. This is your virtual shop front. I don't want you to take that lightly. I want you to understand it, and I want you to be so freaking excited about it. Now, being a branding and business nerd, to me, it is incredibly disheartening to see a brand with a disjointed vibe. I have seen it a lot. You walk into the physical store and you love the vibe. It's so cool in there. It feels great. You head to their website and it's a little off from what you loved. Maybe the color scheme is different or the fonts are different, or in person they were friendly and kind, and on the website they're very cold. Then you go to their Instagram and that is like a free-for-all. That is a totally different world. It feels nothing like the website or the physical store, and you're just like confused. This is confusing your consumer. It is the last thing we want to do. People don't have that many brain cells to give to things, right? Our attention spans are dwindling. If we can't figure something out right away, and if we don't see a congruency, we're out so fast. But think about it. You wouldn't sign up for an offer if you didn't know the terms. Why would they? They can't hitch their cart to your horse if they don't understand where your horse is going. I feel like this episode is full of so many analogies. Do you feel, has there been an ungodly amount of analogies are my vibe. I think I've mentioned this in episodes before. Contrived analogies are my vibe, guys. Okay? I love them. But seriously, Fusing you and your vibe into everything you do is what makes a cohesive brand. And it starts to create this tribe that people want to join ASAP. There are examples, big and small, past and present. You could think about them yourselves. Really, think about it. One of the biggest ones right now, one of the biggest cult followings right now is Lululemon, right? They have a vibe they put out there. It is in every store. It is online. It is in the people, the brand ambassadors they choose. Lululemon has a vibe. With that, you could go to Cycle Bar. At one point, Victoria's Secret. Oh, come on, you wanted to have that pink bag while you walked through the mall. How about Kylie Cosmetics? I mean, yeah, the brand is great and it works fantastic, but it's more about being a part of a tribe that uses Kylie Cosmetics. Gap jeans in the 90s, come on. And Harley Davidson, they are amazing at what they do. They have created the ultimate tribe, all through curating a clear and concise vibe in everything they do. The more of a vibe and a story that your brand has, the bigger and more raving the fans will get. The payoff is there, I promise. I'm going to help you get there, okay? In social media, vibe is king. It's absolute number one. Your vibe matters the most for your social media, but especially your Instagram. Your Instagram is all about people buying into your story and how it makes them feel. When they shop with you, do they now feel cool, smart, savvy, eco-friendly, part of a community? Do they know without a doubt that they can align their personal vibe with yours? An example being me with Pinup Girl Clothing. They do a great job infusing their fun, flirty, vintage vibe into everything they do. We had Laura Burns, the founder, head designer, honestly one of the baddest bitches on the planet, right here on this show. I will align myself with Pinup Girl Clothing and their aesthetic, their vibe, their brand. Because I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm signing up for, and I know it's me. Some of you are panicking at this point, and I know that. That's okay. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. The best part about Instagram is your vibe changes in 9 pictures. 9 pictures changes the whole preview of your feed. That is just over 1 week if you're posting every day. Honestly, in about 3 pictures, your vibe has already changed. You've seen it on the Creative Women's League. I've gone through a lot of vibe changes, guys. I've gone through a lot of brand and branding changes. Every time I feel like, why am I taking this on? And 3 pictures later, I have a whole new feed and it looks gorgeous. 9 pictures later, so long to the old Creative Women's League. Then we just add some new highlight graphics. We fix up your bio and you are all set as far as social media goes anyway. So what is brand vibe? Brand vibe is the feeling that people get when they tune in to your brand. This is the culmination of all your social, your website, your Etsy, your goods, you. This is where it all comes together and creates your vibe, man. You get it. Even if you don't think you get it, you do. Let's think about Apple products. Crisp, clean, savvy. I hope all of you are old enough to remember the Mac versus PC commercials. That was when they really started their vibe. I'm a Mac. I'm cool. I'm young. I'm hip. I'm a PC. I'm stuffy. I'm old. You don't want to be a PC. I just went to the Apple store in Chicago. Prime freaking real estate on the river. A gorgeous building that was so cool. I was like, well, I'm glad I'm seen here. Let's talk about Walmart. Cost effective. Quick. Unassuming, you can go in your pajamas. These are down to earth, normal people in a Walmart at 3 a.m. Okay, maybe not so much, but you know what I mean. People who love Walmart are not going to see the same value in a Target. That's not their vibe. Think about the locations of the Walmart stores. They can be off side of a highway. They can be right in the middle of suburbia. Places where Apple isn't going to go, obviously. Another big one is Starbucks. Cool, hip. They set a standard for a coffee shop atmosphere. So you can keep playing this game. Think about brands. Think about their vibe. You know, Coca-Cola is so happy. Sephora is très chic. You can play this game all day. But what makes your vibe? What pieces of what you are doing in your day-to-day hustle and grind? You know, I hate those words, but they are hustle and a grind. What is making up your vibe? The simple answer is everything. Every freaking thing you do is making up your vibe. Your brand colors. Are we going for red and black? A more intense thing like Harley? Are we going blues and creams? Is it going to be relaxing like the ocean? Very white, bright, crisp, modern feeling. That one's very popular right now. Colors are hugely attached to emotions, so your brand colors really need to be connected to your vibe. Like I said, we aren't going too far into branding, but I'm just telling you, your brand colors big into your vibe. Another thing is your voice. How do you speak on your Instagram? What's the voice you're using on your website? How are you interacting with others? Are you informal and friendly? Do you use hip lingo like lit or bae? Do you say it's Gucci? I do not. I am too old to use hip lingo anymore. But if you do, you know, someone like Kylie Jenner is obviously going to get away with that better than somebody like Bobbi Brown, another makeup artist with a totally different vibe and a totally different tribe. Here's a funny one. Are you using your captions to explain and teach people? Or are you on there pure excitement? Here it is. The example being, let's say you post a picture of a bag you made. Hey everybody, check out this bag. Isn't it fab? I used wool by this brand and fusible fleece by this brand, and I sewed it together on my machine that's this brand using this foot. Or, hey everybody, check out this bag I just made. It's wool, and isn't it freaking fabulous? I love it so much. Who else has to have one? It's the same informal, friendly tone, but I'm either teaching people like me to do it, or I'm just amping people up, getting them ready to love this bag. Another big deal is, how do you talk about your products? Are you trying to curate a high quality, high end, expensive brand? If you are, then why do you keep talking about what a good deal you have for them? People who are looking for luxury and quality don't care if it's a good deal. They see the value in what you're doing. We go back to Target versus Walmart again, right? I will pay Target prices to not have to go into a Walmart. And on the flip side, there are times when it's 2:00 in the morning and I need, you know what? The one time I went to Walmart at 2:00 in the morning was for a plunger. Embarrassing. I mean, that's what it's there for, right? That's what it's there for. If you are curating a sweet family brand with mass appeal, stop cursing in your posts. I'm shrugging at you. I mean, of course you can. If you want to do your whole separate vibe that looks like Pottery Barn but has the mouth of a sailor, people are going to love it. I'm just saying, think about these things. It's in the shapes you use. It's in the accessories in your pictures. It's in your fonts. Literally everything is playing into your vibe. If you are pinup girl clothing and you're trying to create this very cool, flirty, fun feeling that is, above all else, vintage and retro, don't have a bunch of new makeup palettes in the picture. Don't have modern technology sitting around. Your girls can't have on trendy clothing, obviously, or trendy, very modern hairstyles. Your customer is going to be confused. If I tuned into pinup girl clothing and saw their models with a super trendy bob sitting on her iPhone, I'd be like, wait, what's going on? Oh, I see that you're sick of me blabbing on about what vibe is. And you're thinking, okay, I get it. I know what it is. How the hell do I fix mine? These 4 steps, answering the questions that come with each step, you can fix your vibe today and stop confusing your tribe. Your tribe will know what they're signing up for, who you are, and how they can be a part of it. Okay, let's get started. Step 1, get to the core of who you are. What do you love? What's important to you? What are the things in life that your friends and family would say, I saw this and I thought of you? For me, it's skulls. Anytime somebody sees a skull, they'll send me a picture of it. And you can too. I love skulls. It's going to be easier to live out your brand if it's authentically you, not who you think you should be or what you'd like to put on for the world. And you can always talk to a friend. Have them describe who you are and what your vibe is to them. Insights from other people outside of your brand and your business, that's massively helpful. Well, sometimes it's massively helpful. Let me correct that. Sometimes it's really helpful. This is one of those cases. And get a good friend. Get somebody who's going to take it seriously. Maybe find a partner in the Creative Women's League for that. I'm going to challenge you to answer these questions at the end of each step, even if you really are feeling like you have a great hold on your vibe. If you feel like you know it, you know what's going on, it's working well for you, still answer these questions because they're good to have around. They're awesome to have in your back pocket as you create content in the future. And if you start to feel disconnected from your vibe, which happens to a lot of us. Okay, so the questions for step 1, I'm going to have you describe yourself in 5 words, okay? 5, not like a sentence that is 5 words. 5 individual words. Question number 2, what is your favorite colorway? What emotions does it evoke in you? Excitement, calm, energy, joy. Question 3, what brand do you look up to and what's their vibe like? You can list a couple brands, but this is hugely insightful. And the last question, describe your product, so what people are buying from you, in 5 words. Step 2, how will you make them feel? When I have people listening to the Creative Women's League and tuned into our Instagram, I want them to feel energized, motivated, inspired, ready to take on the world. I want women in particular to feel that they have found their community, their support system, and their business life is going to be great. So how do you want to make your customers feel? How do you want to make your tribe feel? So answer these for me. Number 1, how will my customers feel after interacting with my brand? Number 2, what is one way I can make that feeling happen today? I mean, right now. What is one thing you can change about what you're doing or post or whatever? Take action right away. 3, how can I intersect who I am? That was all the questions from step 1, and how I want people to feel, the questions from this section, in a cohesive way. So how can I intersect who I am and how I want people to feel in a cohesive way? Step 3, who is your tribe? Yeah. You can't go hunting if you don't know what you're hunting for, right? And don't be afraid to get specific. If I had labeled CWL as a community for people who want to learn about social media, I'd be getting like your grandparents who want to figure out how they get on the Instagrams to see your comments and your likes. You're like, what? I'd get people coming to me asking why their Pinterest boards aren't working, right? Do you see how this isn't specific enough? A funny example is the fact that when I started, I really didn't know where I wanted the CWL to go. It tended to be more of a community for creative women, and I would inspire those women to create businesses, I guess. I wasn't really sure. And I was confusing people. So I would put out content and somebody would come back and say, wait a second, I thought this was for this type of person and you're putting out content for this. What is even going on? I had one woman get very upset with me because I was teaching you guys how to use social media and she didn't care about that. She was just a hobbyist. She didn't give a crap about starting a business. Why was I doing that to her? Intense, right? That was my fault. I was confused. Also, the riches are in the niches, okay? Niche down. Be specific. Here's how you're going to get specific with these questions. Number 1, who is my dream customer? What do they do for work? What brands do they love? How do they spend their free time? Now, I don't want you to get as involved with this as you would like a customer avatar, which we'll talk about in later episodes. Just give a brief overview of what your dream customer looks like and what they do. Question number 2 is, who is my best tribe member currently? Where do they hang out? What do they love? What hashtags do they use? What vibe do they give off? Question number 3, who is not my customer? This is the hardest question and the most important one. This is going to help you when inevitably rude and crappy people come along and say, but you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And what about this? Because you can turn around and say, you aren't my people. You aren't my tribe. I will send you off nicely, but you won't feel that guilt like you didn't create for them. And step 4 is consistency. So important in everything we do. It's the hardest step. It is so easy to deviate. It just is, especially as we grow and change. So you need to make sure your vibe is consistent across all of your brands. Same voice, same feel, same energy, same colors, same fonts. That all goes into branding too, but truly, your vibe has to stay consistent. And as you create new products and come up with new content, ask yourself if it works for your vibe, if it plays well together. If you've decided you want to create this crazy new product and it doesn't work for your vibe, it might be a good idea to table it for now. So the questions for this step. 1, what is one way I can make my vibe more consistent? We can all do this. There are very few of us in the world who can't make their vibe more consistent. Number 2, are my last 3 posts on Instagram consistent with each other and my vibe? So consistent with each other, do they all work together? And do they work with my vibe? Why or why not? I want an explanation on that one. A short paragraph, kids. And question number 3, the last one of the series, is how can I strengthen my vibe across all my platforms? Maybe you need to get better at using the same voice from one space to another. Maybe you realize that your colors are a little different on your website than they are on your Instagram. Maybe all your pictures on your Instagram are your smiling face, and then we go over to your website and you are A, nowhere to be found, which I am totally guilty of, or B, it's a bunch of stock images of other random people. So let's get consistent. Let's do this, shall we? I'm really excited. It's all finished now. If the whole vibe concept is new to you, listen to this episode again, give it some time to marinate, and then try again. Like I said, the questions are going to be over in the Facebook group, Creative Women's League on Facebook, so get over there. We'll discuss and chat and have a wonderful time, as we always do. Please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to help this little podcast grow, and make sure you get all the best content sent right to you. Then you never have to go looking for me. I'll just be right there for you. And you know that's my favorite place to be. Duh. I'm so excited. So with these 4 easy steps that you can do today and these questions you can answer today, you can get your vibe on track right now. Right now. And stop scaring away your perfect tribe by confusing the hell out of them. Thank you guys so much. I love you. I adore you. I'll see you on Instagram at Creative Women's League and in the Facebook group, Creative Women's League. See you next week, babies. You're still here? It's over. Go home.